Hey guys, it's great to be back this week with the part 2 of my story. If you did miss the first part, you can just check on the link below and then you can click on that link that I've put there and it'll take you straight there to part 1. But before I go into part 2, we're just going to have a time of worship so you can sit back, relax, enjoy, even sing along if you'd like. And I'll see you shortly.
Stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am. And I've seen many searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers only you provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say your word. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am, it's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Love so undeniable, I can hardly speak. Peace so unexplainable, I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still into love, love. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am.
Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my story where I'm sharing a bit of my life with you and some of the challenges that I've faced over the years. I'm going to start where I left off last week in week 1, and that was where I got arrested on the Thursday, and on the Monday I was taken to court. When I got there, I was given the choice of going ahead with the case and quite possibly doing quite a few years in prison or doing 2 years at a rehab. And so that's what I did. I went to rehab. I think it was the following day or the day after that I went to rehab. And I started the beginning of a 2-year or just over 2-year journey there. Now, I went to a rehab called Noupoort Christian Care Centre. It's about, I think it's about 5 hours away from here in East London. And so yeah, it's quite a distance. It's a long way to be away from family, and it was probably the most difficult 2 years of my life, being without the kids. My parents did bring them on occasion to visit me, and that was great. But at the end of those visits, I still had to say goodbye, and it was hard on the kids. It was hard on everybody involved. This time that I spent in rehab was particularly difficult for my parents, I suppose, because they had then taken on the responsibility of raising my kids, and that was an added pressure for them as a result of a decision that I had made. But the 2 years for me, though it was difficult, it was also probably one of the best 2 years of my life, if I can put it that way, in that it allowed time for me to really connect with God and to really think about life and think about the things that I had done. And while I was in the process of this recovery, it was difficult. It was needed time for me to build on my relationship with God, but at the same time I'm battling the addiction. So it could be it can really be confusing at times. I know towards the end of my first year, I was adamant that I wanted to leave after 1 year, even though I had to be there for 2 years. I was trying everything in my power to convince my parents and convince anybody that I was fine to go out into the real world and to carry on with life. But fortunately for me, that wasn't the case, and I had to remain for the remainder of my time. But I was using all sorts of tactics, just sort of manipulating the situation in such a way that I would hopefully get my way. And it's such a typical trait of an addict, of somebody that is under the control of something else. And I say something else because it doesn't have to be drugs. It can be anything. It could be Xbox or PlayStation or food or whatever it is that has that control over you. And so that's again why I say the story really is for so many people, because it's not just about addiction to drugs, but it's about having anything in your life that has such a hold over you that you don't have control. And so my story offers this hope and restoration that we can only find in Christ. And so, like I said, fortunately, I did have to stay for the full 2 years. And in the second year at Noupoort, you then become training staff, what they call training staff. So you oversee a certain area, whether it be the kitchen or the laundry or the bakery or whatever. But my area that I was in charge of was the under 18s. And so I had to look after a whole bunch of under 18 kids that obviously were most of them going to the school there, finishing off their schooling, and so I was their sort of house father. And one of the key times, or the times that I'll never forget, was receiving a call from one of the children's moms. And I had to break the news to her that her child had gotten into trouble that day, and he had to face, I can't even remember what the consequence was for him at that stage, but I had to break the news to his mom, and she broke down into tears over the phone. She didn't know what to do anymore. Her child, I think he was probably about 15, don't think he was 16, but she had tried everything to help him, to to help him overcome addiction, and everything was failing, and she broke down into tears, and it was the first time that I got to see what I had put my mom through, but yet I was seeing it from the other point of view, from the other perspective. And that was where I really realized how much hurt I had caused and how much pain I had caused for my family, for my parents. So after 2 years in rehab, I eventually got out on the 16th of September in 2015. And then there were a new set of challenges as a result of the consequences of my addiction. And having to go to rehab, you've got to explain where you were for the last few years in interviews, and it's not so easy. So that's just one of the challenges. There's other things as well. There's health implications as well. I think the over time, having used drugs, it takes its toll on your body as well, and so there's that from smoking as well. All these decisions that we make when we're younger have these implications further on in our lives as well. Even though there are these consequences, God is a God of restoration. He's a God who restores. And in my life, He has done just that. I live with my 2 kids that I left before I went into rehab. I've got an amazing wife. I've got a beautiful newborn baby, 3 months old, and I have a job, and I don't want to take these things for granted, but God has really blessed me and restored those things that ultimately would have been stolen and taken out of my life had I carried on with my life the way it was. And so God is truly a God of restoration, and I can testify to that. I'm going to quickly refer to something I mentioned right in the very beginning, the importance of good decision making. Right throughout my addiction, I always felt that I never ever had a decision. I never had a choice. This thing had a control over me, so it wasn't my decision to make. I just didn't have a choice. I had to be taken out of it. And the one thing that I've learned over this time is that we need to spend time with God in His Word and building on that relationship with Him, because it's through having that relationship and knowing the person of Jesus Christ that we can start making better decisions for our lives. And ultimately making these better decisions are having better impacts on our family and those that we know and those that we're surrounded with. And we can only do this by His love and His grace. And so I thank you for spending the last 2 weeks with me. And I just ask that if you've enjoyed this clip and part 1 as well, that you just share that with as many people as you can, because I can't stress it enough. This is so important. It's so important for everybody that they should hear it. And so once again, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and God bless.